So hey Stanislav, thank you for doing this. Excited to talk about EB1A visa here. So without further delay, let's just jump into this right away. I know we have made a video on O1 visa, and there we talked about how we have to kind of like, I believe 3 out of 8 requirements we have to match. Can you tell us about how it works for EB1 visa? And I know there are A, B, C categories. So maybe go ahead and talk about which you feel is necessary to talk about. Yeah.
Definitely, we are going to talk about EB1A visa because EB1B and EB1C, they are completely different visas that have nothing to do with the talent. EB2B is for professors and researchers, and EB1C for international managers when there are companies, and so they're completely different. So in the context of O1 visa and the talent visas, we definitely have to focus on EB1A. And conceptually, it's very similar to O1 visa. The only difference is that, well, there's a couple of differences. First of all, EB1A is a green card, right? I think this is a huge difference because with O1, you only get up to 3 years of working for the employer, and then you have to think about something else or extend it for a year indefinitely. EB1A, just like EB2 national interest waiver, does not require an employer, which is a great thing because you don't have to look for a company to sponsor your petition. And another thing, which is really great, EB1A category never gets backlogged. So compared to EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, it's never backlogged. So
even for Indians.
Yes. But for Indians. But very important, the backlog for Indians probably around 10 months.
10 months now. Okay, last time I checked it was 6 months, but I believe it's increasing then. Seems like I do know that, you know, there are so many conversations happening about EB1, just like we are doing. My LinkedIn feed is all EB1A visa these days. A lot of lawyers talking about it, and a lot of Indians are looking into it. And so that's interesting.
And they should, they should look into that.
They should, yes, definitely.
Yeah. So another thing that I want to add to EB1A is that as opposed to O1A, it has 10 criteria. But the 2 additional criteria is actually from O1B, which belongs to the art and production.
I see.
Yeah, that means that for people in the industry of art, production, TV, movies, content creation, blogging, maybe, beauty, modeling, they have 2 extra criteria to prove, which is huge.
Got it.
So, which is a really good thing for people in art, and of course, it's always good disregarding the 2 additional criteria for people in STEM category. Just to let you know, Omkar, that for my 8-year experience working as an attorney, we never got a single denial in STEM category for O1, EB1A, or EB2 national interest waiver, and we filed hundreds of those petitions. So, which means that STEM people are really welcome here.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, that's great to hear, Stanislav. And I remember, you know, my first month into America, a mentor told me there are 3 ways to stay in America: be an engineer, be an engineer, be an engineer. You know, that's what he told me. So everything else, he said, doesn't matter. If you're in STEM, you're an engineer, or medical field as well. It just makes it easier for you to live here because not a lot of Americans themselves are pursuing these degrees, and that's why there is a need for that.
Yes, so, absolutely. Doctors, engineers, IT, architectures, designers, analysts, everybody, mathematicians, physicists, everybody.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, so let's jump into these requirements a little bit, Stanislav. I want to get into a little bit in depth here because that's the information not available. A lot of people have videos, but they don't go into the depth. So can we go maybe instead of, I don't want to go through all 10 of them, but 3 or 4 of these criteria, and can you touch upon them and tell us what kind of people should look into this, and is it really possible for them to get it,
Okay, yes, let's there's a couple of ways I could go by the criteria, but let me tell you some secrets.
Yeah.
Because that's we want to know something that's really good insights in this visa. And well, first of all, STEM category is one of the best, right? Regardless if it's O1, EB1, EB2 national interest waiver, STEM is priority number one. But with this being said, that anyone can get this visa. We got approvals for talented like nail masters, like people who do nails, or
Wow.
eyelashes. Recently, we got a green card for a person who holds events, like
Event
like
manager.
presenter, event manager. Like
Okay.
so, there's no limit here. But the ones who have scientific publications, just the fact itself that the person has scientific publications is gonna stand you out a lot. Why I'm talking about this? Well, because if we have scientific publications, that means that we either work somewhere where it's required, like maybe a university, maybe we do research, maybe we work in a lab, or we get an advanced degree, like a master's, PhD, or something like that. So we have to write those things. And one way or the other, we can get the critical role. We can probably get a higher salary. We can probably get the contribution in the field. And of course, we can create press that is going to talk about this. So people who are more in academic part, in scientific and research part, they have a huge advantage among everybody else. But with this being said, I want to mention that sometimes we get the clients when we start the cases that have zero scientific publication, but by the time we finish, they have like 4 or maybe 5, maybe 6. So it's all possible.
Yes. Understood. That's very interesting, because I do remember talking to you, last time we had discussed you need about 4 or 5 of them. You said minimum 4 and 50 citations. I remember that, you had mentioned that. So let's say somebody is coming to you with none of them, and they just have a master's in America and 3 to 4 years of experience, let's say, and they're like, hey, I want this EB1A. What would you tell them, Stanislav, if they have zero? Like, does your firm help them write these things, or they have to kind of like find people who they can write these papers with and stuff like that? How does it really work? Can you maybe give us a little bit background in it?
Yes. Well, if we have a client that the one that you described, my best recommendation would be to start with O1. Okay. Because when there is nothing or almost nothing, it's really hard. It's going to be a very difficult process. The ones that I mentioned before, that they may not have the publications when they start, but they usually have a good foundation for this publication. Maybe they have a lot of experience, or they have worked on projects. Maybe they have other criteria satisfied. But if there is none, if there is no awards, if there is no judging the work of others, if there is no conferences, if there is no working for a company with a good reputation, if there is no salary, if there is no professional association, I mean, there is nothing to build the case on. So I can build a strategy for pretty much anybody from from 0 to hero. Okay, I can tell you, hey, I need this, I need that, do this, do that, write this many articles, get this press about yourself and things like that. No problem. But it's just gonna take a little bit of time. And of course, if you work with the PR agencies, you can speed up this process significantly. Even writing the publications, they can help you out with publishing them. They can help you out with the press about you, establishing your reputation, maybe lobbying your speaking at the conferences, maybe getting you in the jury. They can do this, but it requires time and budget. of course, it requires the budget. So it's, but again, as long as there is, where there is a, how they say it,
Where there is a will, there is a way, right?
if there is a will, there is a way. Yes. So that's the bottom line of it. Bottom line of it. If you really want it, you're gonna do this because there's no way around it.
I understand. You know, one of the fear people have with writing papers is because they have never done it. So let's say, you know, we have 10 criteria, right? So let's say somebody is like, I don't know how to write paper and I don't want to write paper. Can we still help them get that out with other 9 criteria where they are like, hey, I do enjoy judging, or I do enjoy maybe presenting. So we can help them through those criteria then.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, the only reason that I mentioned and I emphasize the scientific academic publications is that we noticed that the filings that we make and where those things are present, they just get a green light. And I mean, why don't we use it if it's available pretty much to everyone? And also I think the logic of, and I understand where those people may come from. Oh, I never wrote, I don't know how to do this. That's the approach of a victim. Okay, yeah. This visa is for winners, not for the other side. Okay, so yes, maybe you never done this. Yes, maybe it's hard, but if you want it, you're gonna get it done. Okay, yeah. You're gonna get 100%. I've seen people who never wrote, who never knew how to do this, who were like so lost in the beginning, but when we guide them, when we connect them with the right people, or they start using their own resources, you don't have to be the author, you can be co-author. Okay, that helps a lot, because if you can connect to some people who are good at this, but you can provide your ideas and material and maybe your research and your past projects, that could be a good collaboration. Okay, absolutely. So yeah, I have quite a few, and maybe more than 0.5% of approvals where we have no scientific publications, but they have awards, they have judging, they have a bunch of critical roles, they have a bunch of contributions to the field, like maybe they wrote a book, maybe they go to conferences. So there's other criteria that are really good and deep and serious and prestigious that we can say, okay, we don't need publications. Just let's stick to what we have. We have good 5-6 criteria. Let's go with it. Okay, and we have good press. Good press is also one of the keys. With no good press, it's just not impressive. Okay, when we have all this judging and awards and contribution, and the press writes about it, it just alleviates the whole petition for the immigration officer.
Understood. And so, but. So for example, somebody who doesn't, like me, who does not have connection with press, but I do know you, but you know people that, you know, PR agencies who can help us with that, something like that, you're
Definitely.
saying.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, so that's excellent. So I think that you really answered some of the, you know, main questions people have about EB1, you know, and how like, you know, somebody who just like is afraid, like you said, you know, a lot of people are just afraid, but I know there are people who really want this. They are like, I'll do whatever it takes to get this. You know, they are just sick and tired of, you know, companies jerking them off around, you know, and then, you know, it's just really, really bad. Like, you know, with H1B, what you saw recently happen, so many frauds happen. People didn't get it on their third attempts. And it's just being really difficult time. Like, you know, I recently spoke to someone who had to leave the country. It's been 2 years for them that they left country. Now they're coming back on a master's. They want to do another master's here, and you know, it's just difficult, I feel like, and people are spending $50,000-$60,000 to come and do their master's again, Stanislav. So
expensive.
So here's a question for you. Now let's say, you know, somebody is like gone back and they want to come back. What is an advice for you? You know, I know we are going a little bit off topic, but can they look into an O1 visa? Can they look into an EB1A? And instead of spending that $50,000 there, they can just get things done with this?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when we start working on O1 visa, and I know, and a client may know that maybe they don't get enough for EB1A, I still will push you to your limits. I will push you to the limits. Get me as much as you can. And trust me, in the long run, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so helpful. Even if we get O1, then it's going to be a good foundation for EB1A and less work in the future. So by way of example, if I tell you, hey, Omkar, okay, give me at least 2 scientific publications, but I know you can do 3. So I will make you to do 3, okay? I'll say, okay, let's push for 1 more. It's going to be great for your O1, but it's going to be even better when you start working on your green card. So yeah, definitely. Regarding if it's doesn't matter if it's O1, EB1A, you have to work hard. You have to do as much achievements if you can, and depending on how far you went, sometimes we even change the final petition. It's been so many times in my career when we started with O1, but we actually filed the EB1A. Why? Because the client went all beyond the possibilities and options, but they followed my strategy that was closer to EB1 than O1, and we filed and we got approval. So this is just a great feeling for everybody.
I think I understand that now. It's really interesting. So it seems like O1 is just a milestone on the way to EB1. It's just on the way. If you got up to O1, might as well go to EB1, in my opinion. So Stanislav, is there anything else you think we need to, we haven't covered about EB1? Because I feel like we have, gone into a lot of depths here. But what else do you think our audience should know about EB1A visa that they as of now may not know from what they have read? Because online, like I remember reading that you have to be an Oscar winner, or like, you have to have big award.
I know that's not like that. It's not like that.
They scare you so much, and people don't even think about it.
Yes. Well, if you have an Oscar, we'll have a good time together, but if you don't, like 99% of my clients, and when I say Oscar, I mean also like Olympic champions, we get clients like that. So it's easier, right? The petition is like this. So, and it's as fast and no problem. But what I really want to add to those who is only considering this way and trying to start, or maybe somewhere in the beginning, not only because I will ask you for 15 recommendation letters, not only because of that, but also it's going to be good for your petition if you start being wired in your industry. Okay, so what it means: go to field meetups, go to the conferences, start connecting to people on LinkedIn, start talking to these big companies, start trying to get in a jury in a competition, start going to these events, start being open and connect to the industry. You'll get your recommendation letters from there, but also you'll get achievements from them. Okay. True. And I mean, I cannot give a better advice than that, because the achievements don't just appear. It's not just happens overnight. It's a systematic, discipline process of working, of living a certain lifestyle. Okay, it's not that, okay, today I'm going to do this. No, you change your mind, you change your lifestyle, you start thinking differently, and you attract all these connections, all these people, all these events, and things just start happening. But you have to be proactive. You have to go and be in the action.
Absolutely. I like the thing about EB1, by the time you get it, you really become the individual, they want to, they want out of this, they want highly qualified individuals, and they want people who are extremely talented and adding value to the society, it seems like. So you have to become that person to get it. You just can't get your way through it. You can't BS your way through this, I feel like.
It's true. Absolutely true.
So I feel it's a great self-development program also. You want to get to a higher level in your life. It's a growth program, I feel like. And then you get, if you really see, green card is like basically a free thing you get by the time you get there, because you have so much. And then you're also growing in the industry. When people know you certainly attract better opportunities, better income and stuff like that. So one question I have, Stanislav, is, we are talking about STEM, and you mentioned, like, one of the criteria was somebody withdrawing a higher salary, and sometimes if somebody is making higher income, they also have a little bit more confidence in themselves that, hey, if they are already successful in their job, they can, do more things in these kind of things. Like, they have more confidence, like, okay, I've already had one check mark. Can I do other things easily? So can you talk about that? Like, okay, what do you really mean by somebody withdrawing a high salary? How much are you saying here? Can you give us a ballpark? I know different fields will have different incomes, but a little bit ballpark here.
I can give you the concept because it's going to be it's just there's so much here. There's so many professions and a lot of things to look at. So and to be honest with you, we can talk about it for an hour, but I'll try to make it for 1 minute. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what we need to look at first, we need to look at your location, where you are. Okay, because if you're in Michigan, if you're in Florida, if you're in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or China, it's going to be a different approach. We need to look at the salaries of the professions in your field, in your geographical location.
Got it.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, we need to make sure that your salary is at least 30% more than other professionals in your field. Okay,
got it.
And this 30%, it's very tricky. Where like Stanislav, how do you know this? It doesn't say in the law. Okay, yes, it doesn't say in the law, but it does say in a precedence, in the case law. So there is this famous case. I'm not going to go into details. They talked about pretty much 20 to 30% is significantly more than other professionals in the field, and but they talked about the salaries in the US. So when we talk about the salaries, let's say in India, I would like to see 2 to 3 times as much.
Understood.
So let's say people, a civil engineer makes $1,000 a month in India. If the client makes $2,000 in the same field, we're gonna make a good argument on that.
Got it. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I like that because I do know a lot of folks who are like extremely talented. They're working at certain higher level companies and they can, use that for their advantage. So I think you did answer my question here, Stanislav. I think, because I thought it was like for US, it was maybe 2-3 times, but 20 to 30% is very possible. Even if you say 30% is very possible. If you're just putting in a little bit extra effort in your work, it's possible to get that also. Like normal people also can get that. It's not that hard, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So I think that's pretty much it what I had, Stanislav. Is there anything else you wanted to cover on that?
I just want to add one little thing that those of the subscribers that watch us today, you guys have a great opportunity to get a free evaluation of your cases. And the links are going to be below this video. So all you need to do is to go, click, fill out the questionnaire, the form that I prepared for you. And within 2 days, I'll get back to you and say if I see the potential in your case, if you qualify or not, and we can take it from there. So don't miss this opportunity. This is a great chance for you to know where you stand for free.
Absolutely. That's amazing, Stanislav. Thank you. I will send an application also now. I feel like I should send it too. But absolutely. Thank you so much, Stanislav. I think this is amazing. What you guys are doing is incredible. And I'm really happy that, Anna got in touch with me and then, we are able to do this. This is just going to be so much value added to so many people. And I hope you're able to get to your goal. I remember you had a goal, 10,000 people, you said, right?
That's correct.
By 2030, you said?
2030.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'll get there. I'm sure your firm will get there. And
we really want that. We really want that.
Absolutely. I believe that. Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on, Omkar. It was great. I enjoyed your show. So let's keep in touch and help as many people as we can.
Absolutely. You bet. Yes.